Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of Monster Comics Reviews. This is for the last week of May 2013. We'll jump right into the books. Adventures of Superman, Issue 1. This is from the Digital First Comics. I figured I would give this a try. I've really enjoyed the Legends of the Batman, which is the Batman version of the Digital First comic. Excited about some of the creators that are on this. You got Chris Samney doing the first story that's in it. Jeff Lemire doing some stuff in here. So I was pretty excited by all that. And was going to give it a shot. You know, I always try to give Superman a shot. And I think this goes to show that I'm just not really that big of a Superman fan. I just have a hard time getting into Superman. I don't know why. In his own stuff. It was okay. I'm not really excited. I didn't put this down after reading it like I did the first the Batman one, who I'm a big fan of. And go, wow, this was great. This was fun. This was just. I didn't. It was okay. The first story was okay. I know a lot of people really like that one best. For me, it was okay. I like the Jeff Lemire one. Not necessarily for the art. Jeff Lemire's art is an acquired taste, I really think. But I love the story they told, you know, it being two kids playing, you know, Superman and kind of cycling through the villains and whatnot. That was pretty cool. I actually really liked the Bizarro story at the end of it. Riley Rizzo, who I mostly know from things like Bedlam and Debris, does the art in it, and I really liked his Superman. His Superman was actually pretty cool looking. Nice to see Superman with his trunks on again. I think it's interesting that as soon as people are given the opportunity to write an out-of-continuity Superman, they all put him back in the old costume, the costume that everybody actually really knows. I think that's kind of interesting. But it's okay. I have ordered a couple issues of this, so I'll read a couple more. I don't know. I just think I can't really get into Superman, and I'm not sure why that is. Coming up, I'll be getting the Superman Unchained, the Scott Snyder and Jim Lee Superman. I figure I'm going to give that a shot. I should be able to really enjoy that. I like those creators, but I thought that back in the '80s too, when John Byrne started Man of Steel. And I bought the first couple issues of that way back then, and I just couldn't get into Superman then either, and I was a big John Byrne fan. So, I don't know. It may just be a character. I don't have anything against Superman. I don't hate him. I don't even pick on him like I do Aquaman, who I really don't got anything against either. It's just fun to pick on my friends who like Aquaman. But I just can't get excited by Superman. Superman interests me when he's teamed up with somebody else. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the Batman-Superman thing, not just because that's Batman, and I'm not that big of a Batman fan. I really do like Batman, though. Just because I like him teamed up with somebody else. I like Superman playing off of somebody else. One of my favorite miniseries has Superman in it, and but it also has The Question in it. And I just really like Superman in the background being this entity, this godlike entity. And so maybe, I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about Superman that I have a hard time getting into. So this was okay, and I think mostly the reason I say it's okay is because I just don't get excited by Superman. Okay, next up, Captain America, issue 007. Man, I'm still really liking this comic, and it still surprises me that I really like this comic. Still not super excited by the art. I'm not that big of a fan of John Romita Jr., but it works. It's serviceable. It's not such an eyesore that I can't read it. Really enjoying this. I really like the relationship and the play of emotions that happen between Captain America and Jet Black. Really interesting. I love the speech that he gives. It doesn't even bug me, the speech he gives, which is one of the things that just really surprised me about this book, because I always view Captain America as being this way over-the-top patriotic person, which kind of grates on my nerves to some degree. But in this, he's not, but he's just talking about doing the right thing and being the better person, and that sort of stuff. And he has this great conversation with Jet Black, convinces her to, seemingly anyway, so far, to kind of come to his side to help him out, to rescue Ian Really good, really interesting. There is a twist at the end of it. The cover kind of reflects that twist to some degree. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen and see what comes out of this. I do know it's been announced by issue 11. There will be a new artist on the book. So it also looks like by issue 11 we're out of the Dimension Z that he's currently in this. And we'll see what I think of the comic going forward. I am going to keep getting Captain America until it disappoints me, because right now it's been a lot of fun. Be curious to see once he gets out of Dimension Z how interested am I going to be in the character if it moves away from the kind of sci-fi story to a large degree that this has kind of been. Less so right now. Now we're back into closer to the general heroics. But still, I'm really enjoying it. It's been great. Been great fun. Okay, next, Earth 2 Annual number 1. There we got Batman, the new Batman of Earth 2 on the cover. I know a lot of people aren't real happy with the idea of them introducing Batman after one of the cool things we all thought, I think, to some degree about Earth 2 is the first issue they kill off the Trinity. They kill Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. And so we have this world where it's going to be dominated by somebody else, not by these guys. So, that is a questionable thing coming back. I did kind of enjoy this. I enjoyed this book, though. It didn't, knock my socks off, but I had a lot of fun with it. I like this Al Pratt. This Adam. It was interesting to get to see, more of his background, more of where he came from, more of what he's had to deal with, what he's dealing with now. That was very interesting. This Batman is actually interesting. I actually really like this costume. It's more like the costume from the kind of Elseworld, the Flashpoint Batman, if you happen to have slogged through the Flashpoint and the other miniseries that came off that Batman was Thomas Wayne, and he had black and red as opposed to the blues and blacks that our traditional Batman tends to have. But it was interesting. I'm really curious, for those of you who have read this, what the heck at the end of it, does this Batman kill? It looks like he pulls the trigger on this gun, whatever kind of gun it is, and does in a guy. Do you think he did? Do you think he killed him? I don't know. Also love the fact that Big Barda and Mr. Miracle are in this. They got more of them in it. That's really cool. They run into Fury at the end of this, and they're part of it. Be curious to see how that all gets played out. That's all part of that Sixth World, Dark Side world. And the more they keep moving that stuff into the DC universe, whether it be Earth 2 or 1 or whatever, I don't care. Very excited by that. Oh man, I'm yawning like crazy. What's up with that? Nothing new, right? At any rate, very excited by that stuff. I hope we get to see more and more of that. It'd be really cool if they became regular players. I'm really curious to see where Earth 2 is going to go. What story is Earth 2 going to tell? They kind of slid away from some of the story they were originally telling, having to do with the World Army and who's in charge of it now and how that all plays out, and the Sandmen doing their thing. We're going to get back to that because we've kind of really moved off of that, it feels like, for about 4 or 5 issues, which is a long time, I think, to move away from plot points which seem pretty heavy and now not to be addressing them. I know this is an annual, so it kind of addresses outside of that. Next issue is coming out fairly soon and is going to pick right up where this one left off. This annual is directly tied in. If you're one of those people who doesn't like annuals because you think it's just kind of a waste of space, this one isn't. It's directly tied into the rest of the book. Yeah. I'm still interested in Earth 2, still enjoying it. I'll be curious to see what happens when Robinson leaves the book, see where it goes. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, right? Anyway. Next up, Justice League of America issue 4 with the oh my gosh ending at the very end of this. If you haven't heard yet, if you haven't been on the internet, I'm sorry, spoiler. Shut my video off, skip ahead until I'm holding up the next book, whatever. It looks like they shoot Catwoman at the end of this. Shoot her in the head. And kill her. They didn't kill her. There's no way they're often that kind of a character. So, what is it really? I don't know. There have been a few people who floated out there that, we haven't seen We haven't seen Black Orchid since the she disappeared in the Justice League Dark. She works with Steve Treasure. Maybe this Catwoman isn't really Catwoman. Maybe this Catwoman is Black Orchid. Of course, that could mean that Black Orchid just got shot in the head and is dead too, which would really suck, because I like that character also. But as a whole, really like this book. Really enjoying it. I really enjoyed the backup story in this. Of Martian Manhunter. We get kind of a brief synopsis of his history, what he was doing, what happened to Mars. So we kind of get an idea of potentially what Martian Manhunter's mindset is. Really interesting stuff. Yeah, this is a pretty good story. I hate this cover, though, I have to say. I hate the unzipped Catwoman down here. I don't know. There's just no point. But, you know, it's a David Finch cover. What? Not really surprised, right? Anyway, much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. It's actually more dynamic and more interesting than the regular Justice League, and that was one of my biggest fears of this book is it's going to have the same writer on it that's on Justice League. That book felt very sleepy and very kind of lazy. I was worried this was going to be too, but I at least wanted to check it out. That's not the case. This seems to have a smart story going right off the bat and quickly moving forward, and it's been pretty good and interesting. Okay, Red Hood and the Outlaws, annual #1. And this story just picks up from where the last one was. This isn't, yet again, another annual that isn't a waste of just being a one-shot throwaway kind of thing. Introduces Cheshire Cat to the new DC 42. I don't like her face paint. I don't mind her otherwise. She's kind of fun, very flirtatious. There's some hilarious lines in here between Roy and her as she continues to kind of flirt with him, and he's like, yo, and Roy's yelling at her, quit being sexy, I'm being serious here. You know, I want to fight. You know, I'm going to take you out or whatever. Jason Todd still doesn't have his memory back. He's now discovered that, you know, the world thinks that he's kind of a criminal himself. Feels like everybody's lied to him. I'm not sure I like the way this story's going now. I was interested in it initially. Now I have some concerns without him having his memory, and the split between the group I think is unfortunate. I was hoping the group would help him get his memory back, that he wouldn't just be running from them. I think Tinian is doing an excellent job with Starfire and Arsenal. You know, very interesting characters, making their relationship complex and feel human beyond them just sleeping together, which I think is really great. I think that's what adds to a book to makes the book actually really interesting. As far as what's going on with Jason Todd, he kind of leaves the island and leaves these two in the dust. I'm curious to see how this gets addressed. I am concerned / worried that it's going to get mired down in a long soul-searching thing that may not be interesting, and that will be unfortunate if that's the case. But I'm still on board. I actually am still enjoying it. I like this issue. Just me using my own writer brain, thinking ahead of what might happen, the what ifs. Some of those what ifs I could make for a really dull story. But interesting though. Oh, another interesting thing in here. Of course, Green Arrow shows up to try and warn Roy that, you know, look, you need to protect yourself. You're in bad shape. Let me take you in, whatever. Tries to be helpful as best he can. So we get some more back history of what Roy and Oliver's relationship were like. And Roy's psychologist was Dr. Hugo Strange, which we all know Strange is a twisted SOB. So having him as a psychologist probably made a mess of things more so than what it needed to be. But that's kind of interesting too. Lastly, X-Men issue 1. Brian Wood and Oliver Coppel is how you say his last name, I think. Love the artwork in this. I originally looked at this cover and thought, maybe their faces all look the same, but not really. I like the fact that the women have different proportions, which is great. They don't all have the same body. I love these characters. Interesting stuff going on. Absolutely love Rogue. Cool seeing her there being a badass, you know, smashing up a train and that sort of stuff. Really cute baby in this. The art makes this baby just incredibly adorable in there. I haven't read lots of Jubilee. Jubilee came around after I quit reading X-Men. I'm more familiar from her from the cartoon, and I don't have a real big opinion based on that. I liked her characterization in this. Interested about this split of these twins, Sublime and his sister is arriving. Not sure who the person is at the very end of this book. If you know who this body that the sister has possessed or whatever it is that's going on there, for those of you who've read this, let me know if you know, because I'm not familiar with that character enough to go, oh, he's using so-and-so's body or whatever, or she's using so-and-so's body. I'm not 100% sure on that. So would be curious to hear what people's thoughts are as far as that goes. This is a really interesting, X-Men book. It all feels natural. There's no exclusion really. People were worried, how can they have this kind of an X-Men team where it's all women and whatnot? Fine. It makes sense. Those just happen to be the people that are around. And then that's fine. You start thinking about the male X-Men that are out there. They're all tied up in these other, really crazy teams. So to me, this makes perfect sense. A great batch of heroes, I think. These are all some of my favorite X-Men. But I have this, and I actually also bought a variant version, which I forgot to... I actually have it right here. This is the variant version. This is the Hastings variant version. Normally I do not buy variants, especially if I already have ordered the original, but I really like this variant cover. It's, them dressed up in, 1920s kind of flapper dresses and whatnot, but their personality is all there for each of the characters. That was a pretty cool cover, even for a Hastings cover. But I really like this cover too. So I'm anyway, excited by this. I've heard that our artist is going to be off the book sooner than later, which I think is unfortunate. I really like this person's art. And I thought I heard that the person who's doing the art, I want to say it's Lopez, and I can't remember that for sure. And I'm not sure if Lopez is the person who was doing the art the last time Brian Wood was doing an X-Men book. And I ended up not really liking that art at all. It actually took away from the story as far as I was concerned. So I hope that's not the case. But pretty excited to keep reading the book. I'm digging it so far. It's interesting right off the bat. So yeah, fun stuff. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the reviews. Hope you sat through all this silliness. I look forward to watching your guys' videos. If you're making videos, let me know what you think down below, or make a video response, or thumbs it up or thumbs it down, or do whatever, right? Or don't do anything at all. See you later on.